be in the wizarding world, partly for the herbology department. And that would really help in places like Maine, where you can do like free trade on stuff that you grow, rainwater and shit. I think.
I know.
Right.
So, reading up on this, there wasn't a lot of information out there, of course, right? When something like this happens, they have to hide it. But so they made it in their state constitution that if I grow some vegetables in my backyard, I can legally sell it to y'all. So as we sit for most of the country, if I try to sell y'all so if I grow vegetables and I don't even sell them to you, but you want to throw me some money to help pay for, I can buy or do more, that's technically illegal because the FDA did not approve it, right? Well,
what about like those vendors on the side of the road that like sell fruits and stuff? Like, are permits?
So you can get a permit, but so that's why, like, some of them, they just, what are you going to do? Call a cop? Like, what are they going to fly all the way from Washington, D.C. here to shut down an orange stand? Fredericksburg peaches everywhere.
Or like, like a petite festival. You have a strawberry festival here. Fredericksburg peaches and stuff. And it's like, I've seen so many fruit carts that I've bought fruit from in the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, oh, was that illegal?
Yeah, no, technically it is. And that's the crazy part, right? Like, that shouldn't be. Rule one of, making your own stuff, you don't want to kill anyone because then you lose customers,
A dead customer means your mind is a customer. I mean, it's logical.
Yeah, right? So I think this is a great step forward, but it also makes it to where you can trade things as currency. And that's a huge thing too.
Like a barter and trade system.
Yeah. So New Hampshire and Maine, that whole area, there's some really crazy stuff like this going on, and it's kind of cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah, if you want to get into the weeds on something, the free New Hampshire project is pretty cool. They're doing some cool stuff. So it's just pretty much, hey, let us live on our own land, eat our own food, grow our own stuff, and we'll be good.
I see like a lot of places like I've seen on TikTok of certain like gardeners that collect rainwater and then shut down by authorities because it's illegal. But my question is like, why? Like, it's a resource. Like, I feel like water is an unalienable right for any human.
Exactly. So we live in one of those cities. Until 2018, it was illegal for us to collect our own rainwater because we live on an aquifer recharge zone. So the city said it's everybody's water. You can't just collect it.
Okay. Now that I know what an aquifer is, that makes a lot more sense.
But then again, then they control the aquifer. So it's just like... But now they're finally allowing... So you can collect rainwater, but you can't use it for your house. So I do know a lot of people who live outside of city limits, and like they design their houses to run off rainwater for certain items, right? So your toilets. Just if you think about it, we flush fresh water down the drain for our sewage. There's countries that murder each other just to get a cup of fresh water, right?
Although, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
I was gonna say, I've taken tours of the San Antonio water system, and they do a really good job at like purifying the wastewater.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but
but I agree with you.
In a lot of other places in the world, they would see us using fresh water to wash our waste away as a huge waste of resources.
Which it is. It feels more sustainable to collect rainwater and use that in that aspect instead of flushing it away. 'Cause I just feel like Americans in general are just like, oh, okay, like the light turns on and that's what it is, or the water, you turn on the tap, the water comes out. And it's not like that, to Crazy's point, in a lot of different places. If we can do something to, I mean, first of all, fresh water is a finite source for the most part. Like, like we should be doing everything we can to conserve.
Yeah.
That was my soapbox.
No, I mean, it's a really big thing that you don't think about the little steps, but if everyone just took one little step, we as a society would take one big step, right? And that's where we're at. And a lot of the programs or the mentalities that come out are all about, carbon neutral right now. Well, like what Maine's doing, think about what Maine's doing, right? So say grandma down the street, it starts canning her peach out of her peach tree out of the backyard, right? Isn't it more carbon neutral for me to go to grandma down the street and get a couple jars of peaches rather than me driving to the store in a car, buying a peach that's went through so many factories and other items to get in that can to be on a shelf?
Unless you're
right?
I mean, you're right. It's a lot more sustainable, but it does put a heavy concern on like major capitalistic companies that do bottling and all this other stuff. But at the same time, like it's a free market. It's a capitalistic market. It's the way it should be.
Yeah. So me trading with grandma down the street is more of a capitalist market than me going to HEB. HEB is an industrial, corporate property. It's not. Yeah.
Love you, HEB. Don't ever change.
Yeah, right.
you do the most out of all of them.
But I know this sounds super weird, but the best way to put this is The Good Place. They explain it so well, right? Like they have the guy who's is the most perfect human as to get into The Good Place, right? The show premise. And no matter what he does, he can't get there because of all the unforeseen sins he causes, right? So, yeah, like that exactly. Okay, well, you ate organic produce and all this, but that organic produce was driven by a truck, was processed by a plant that runs off coal. It was like this, and so like once that he actually just got that cabbage, it was like he was already in debt. In the point system that they used, right? That was the show premise. And it sounds weird, but it actually explains it. It puts a good perspective on things. And I think people like in Maine and New Hampshire with the projects they got going on up there, they're the only ones actually doing something.
That's really cool. I hope we see like they said, a precedent, and I hope we kind of see that expand, especially like towards our major farming states.
All the South.
I hope.
Well,
some of the
and also we're really paying a lot of farmers not to farm right now, and I don't know how that's going to, and it's really bad. It's going to turn out bad.
Better start up the garden.
Hey, Crazy, can I borrow your garden making machine?
I just wish we could just say like a little spell and like fix everything like Molly Weasley.
I'm totally waiting until you wake up one morning and I'm just in your backyard building your garden for you.
No,
it's gonna happen.
He's just bleeding ours over into yours.
No, he's gonna come
mine's
over.
getting to the point where there's nothing for me to ever do in it anymore. Like
you won't even get a knock. He'll just wake up and he's already in the backyard because he went through the gate.
Right?
Like, how did you know the combination?
Hacker mode.
Kiwi told us. Son of a bitch.
So I showed one of my helpers how to break a lock with just 2 screwdrivers, and he goes, holy crap.
Dude, there's a professional lockpick on TikTok. He used to do YouTube videos. Only reason I know that is because I've seen it before. But this dude has like an insane set of lockpicking tools. The master
You just
locks.
needed 2 screwdrivers.
Yeah.
No, you just give me like a 2-foot piece of rebar and I can get into a lock faster than anybody else.
Well, that wraps up another great episode. And don't forget to join our amazing and supportive community on Discord.
In our Discord, you can find game nights, watch parties, food pics, Dungeons and Dragons, and more. What's not to love about that? We have a little something for everyone. Head over to our website, officialmillennials.com, and you'll find more info, especially our featured Gamer of the Week.
Speaking of something for everyone, we have a book club. We read a book almost every month and talk through it together. We also have a special perk for our subs to discuss other books in a series called Chapter 2.
Don't forget to swing by YouTube and drop us a follow at Official Millennials. You can also find us on Twitter at MillsOfficial. We appreciate all the support, and y'all have a good one.
This is an Official Millennials production.